They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Dead Dare, a horror podcast.
Brought to you by Big Baby Studios.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Dead Air, a horror podcast. We are your hosts for tonight's episode once again. My name is Aaron, and I am a horror fan. I watch horror for the way it makes me feel. I don't, analyze it by the frame and stuff like that. I'm not a film student. For me, it's all about the actors' performances and how scared it makes me feel. Not like my other two co-hosts here who, take movies super seriously sometimes. Na parang, hey, co-hosts, what up?
Okay, Aaron.
That's not true. Okay, maybe a bit.
It's true.
Hi, my name is Chris
Why
Costello. I'm your other co-host. If Aaron's a fan, I guess I would call myself a fanatic. This is
You're
something
crazy.
this is something that my wife doesn't really appreciate that much because that means she doesn't get to watch her own movies with me. But
Okay.
so that's me, and our other co-host is.
Hi, I'm Miguel Nashanseno. I also love movies, but I have a hard time watching horror films. So I'm the resident scaredy cat, and I'm the guy who's bound to tap out at one point or another from the movies you watch for this pod.
See, the reason we asked you to be on this, Miguel, is to toughen you up. Build some character,
Grabe,
Come
wala naman
on.
sa horror film yun. No?
Have some thrill
It's
in
a
your
life
life.
skill.
Enjoy life.
It's a life
know?
skill,
Alam mo,
Miguel.
Alam mo, Aaron.
Getting
you can be
through a
afraid
good
of
horror movie is a life skill.
You can be afraid of horror movies, but still be brave in life.
Wow.
Defensive.
Well,
Nagalit.
sure.
Just kidding. All right.
So for today's episode, everyone, we have a very special guest. We're very excited to have her on. She is both an actress and a producer of horror movies. So she has acted in the movies Hell Come Home and Abandoned, and produced Motel Acacia and Tia Madre. Everybody, let's welcome Iana Bernardez. Yes! Let's give her a hand.
Thanks for joining us. Thank you.
We're so
Welcome,
excited to have you.
I'm the guest scaredy cat.
Yeah.
You're not the first, don't worry. We've had some scaredy guest cats, and they're the ones high-fiving Miguel during the intro.
Yeah, exactly. None as big as Miguel. Mr. Tap
Yep.
out every 5 minutes.
I know.
I'm never gonna let you live
Okay
us
lang
down.
yan. That's alright, dude. You can put it on a shirt. I'll wear it. Did not make it through
So,
the Conjuring.
I'm actually surprised that you said a while ago that you couldn't watch The Witch.
No, I saw.
And I'm so proud of myself because I'm not a fan of horror films, but in fairness, I think I was able to see it.
No, eventually I was able to watch The Witch in its entirety, but nung binasa ko pa lang yung Wikipedia entry, natakot na ako.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
They got pretty good writers on Wikipedia then.
So, Iana, you've worked on horror movies both behind the camera and in front of the camera, but you are a little scared of the genre. What's your first experience with horror, whether it be film or an actual experience?
As far as I don't have a pretty good memory of my childhood, I don't know why. I'm just feeling ko nga when I grow up, I'll have dementia. Please, Lord, not.
Whoa.
But
Whoa.
ang pinaka naalala ko was I was so scared of Chucky. I think that was the first horror film I watched that, I already had this vision of the world. I understood the world somehow, and then they made me watch Chucky, and it just ruined every doll in the world for me.
So did you not grow up with dolls after that?
No, I was so scared of the dolls that looked like real babies. Ever since, even until now, I don't like passing through the toy stores where all the dolls were displayed.
I get that.
The dolls that I could take though were I don't know if you know this, the Hetty Spaghetti dolls. Or they had these long rubber hairs and they didn't look like real people. And it took me a while to appreciate the Bratz dolls, but I never owned one. And of course, the Polly Pockets.
Polly Pocket is not scary. The only thing scary about it is you can swallow it. That's
and
it.
you can step on it and it'll be painful.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
So
a
your
Lego.
first experience was Chucky. That's very interesting because this is actually the movie that you chose. Is there any reason
Yeah.
besides the fact that you were scared of it being the movie that you chose? Why did you choose this? Do you remember certain parts of it that really traumatized you?
Because I'm trying to remember why I'm so scared of it. So because I knew I was going to do this, I forced myself to watch it and just remember, Yana, why were you so scared of the film? Why were you so scared of him anyway?
Thank you.
And I did. I remembered. I told Maui, sabi ko, I know na bakit siya yung childhood nightmare ko.
So did you watch it again?
Yes, I watched it again.
And
I'm so proud of myself. I watched Seed of Chucky first.
oh,
Okay.
Tinignan ko, warm up muna kasi I heard it wasn't as scary.
yeah.
So, okay. And then just recently, just today actually, I watched Child's Play 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you confront your fears?
I think I did, but thank God that I watched on my laptop, so it was easy for me to just press forward.
Oh. I turned down the volume. That's super helpful. Yeah.
Because at first it was dark in the room.
Yeah.
So I go, shit, di ko to kaya. I turned on the lights.
It must have been really traumatizing for you because I was watching it also today. I remember seeing it as a kid, but then I watched it again today. And the intro pa lang, I was like, wait, he's a voodoo guy? And then he
Meron pala,
goes
no?
in a doll?
I forgot that part
Yeah.
too.
It's crazy.
He was a real killer.
While watching the movie, I thought I had seen Child's Play as a kid. But I think in hindsight, I might have seen the second one, Bride of Chucky pala. Bride of tama, di ba? What was the second one? Bride of Chucky? Was it?
I
So,
think it was
this is
Child's Play 2.
Yeah, Child's Play 2, Bride of... I forget. But apparently, I hadn't seen this first one. So when I saw it for this podcast recording, I'm like, oh, I haven't seen this pala. So I was watching it. And then parang... It was interesting how it also tried to be more than just... But you could feel that it was attempting to be deep at certain points, though. Ako lang ba? Like it wanted... Like the way the doll kinda got to the kid. Like the movie was trying to go into trying to be a bit more psychological. Like I felt maybe the original script had that. Tapos parang at the end naging run-of-the-mill horror film siya or naging more of a straight-up horror film.
Feeling ko din kasi the little boy, diba?
Yeah.
Diba parang the little boy, he had these lingering looks on Chucky, especially the last scene.
Mm.
So parang what kind of trauma does the boy carry now? He witnessed all these murders, a doll burning. So parang siguro naman may trauma yung kid somehow na dadalhin niya. And then there's Child's Play 2, so I was wondering how the hell will there be a Child's Play 2 now?
Yeah.
Maybe you can tell me that, Miguel.
Now I have to watch that. But now I'm intrigued enough to watch the second one. And I hear the second and the third embrace the more comedic parts of the whole thing versus the horror. So parang horror comedy din daw yung 2 and 3. So I'm willing to watch that. Parang feeling ko hindi ka nakakatakot. But I have a question, Chris. Did they use the same kid who eventually grew up in the sequels?
That is interesting
Yes.
that you asked me that question, Miguel. Because
Why?
as much as I claim to be such a big horror fan,
Oh, shit.
Child's Play is a dead spot in my horror education. I have never seen it.
Well,
I have never seen it.
Paduy ka pala eh. Walang kwenta.
I'm so proud of you, Miguel. I'm so proud of you.
I had never seen it until a few days ago. I had never seen anything actually. No, that's not right. I saw the remake. The remake.
Yeah.
No, the one that came out
The
this
one
year.
last year.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
2000.
with and I only watched it because Mark Hamill was the voice of Chucky, and I was like, this is gonna be interesting.
Luke
I really love him.
Skywalker?
Luke Skywalker
Voice,
is the voice of the new Chucky. So that's the only reason I watched it. And I was like, it's okay. It's more comedy than horror. And then I thought that this is really why I never watched it at the beginning. It's because I thought it was just so ridiculous that this little doll isn't scary. Like I could, if this doll existed, I'd just fucking kick the shit out of this doll. You know, like it's tiny. It's like, and that's why when I watched it for the first time, I was like, oh wow, I actually missed out on a lot because. No, I really enjoyed it. I sincerely enjoyed it. Like I guess the franchise really developed into something more comedic, but the treatment of the first one was more ridiculous, not comedy horror, but it was just. I mean, of course, there's a bunch of funny bits, but it was just ridiculous with the voodoo and the serial killer, you know, transferring his soul into the doll by chanting voodoo. And then, but it was treated like, I felt like the overall treatment was like, they really took it seriously. Like
they did.
They really shot it like a horror film. They didn't shoot it like a comedy horror. So that's something that I really enjoyed watching it because I'd never seen it before. I never wanted to see it because I thought the concept was so ridiculous. And it wouldn't scare me, but there were some good scares, good thrills. I mean, I really enjoyed it. So I cannot speak on the sequels, Miguel. That's my roundabout way of saying I can't speak on the sequels.
We have stumped Costello. I am proud. But I was gonna say, like in this one, you could see nga na in its DNA, horror movie talaga siya, even if it had those little ridiculous treatments.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of shots that they just go through the apartment and the camera would just follow and parang, you know, it was shot like a horror film, leaving a lot of space. So parang, you know, you might anticipate that there's something coming from that side. And then even that scene towards the end, I guess we're spoiling the movie. It's from 1988. Parang when Chucky's trying to get through the door and is sticking a knife through it, that's very The Shining. You know, when the mama,
that's totally a reference to The Shining.
Yeah, when the mama's holding down the door and then kinukuchilyo ni Chucky yung he was trying to get his way in. Parang that felt very The Shining.
So I did a bunch of research, you know, after watching it because I actually really enjoyed it because I was like, wait, in 1978, I was like, is Chucky stop motion sometimes? But no, he's not. He's never stop motion. He's animatronic. He's a mix of a puppet, animatronics, and children and little people wearing a suit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, makes it scary too.
And then sometimes I was like, okay, maybe that's why the size, I think the proportion kind of changes every once in a while. Sometimes he looks really small and then sometimes he looks a little bigger. Sometimes. When he's like actually running, you're like, oh, okay, so that was a kid in the suit.
So that's why he moved smoothly sometimes. Because I was wondering if he was like animatronics, that was pretty smooth.
Yeah. And then may tao talaga. Or kala ko nga puppets pero parang never nag-puppet, no? Animatronic talaga.
Yeah, it's animatronic. Yeah. You know, it's when like, okay, so this is when I was like, okay, this can be actually really scary. It happened at the end, but that's when I really appreciated it. That scene where like Chucky is so burned, he's black, and he has a knife and he's walking toward the kid. That was a scary image. I don't know if you remember that, but that was actually really striking. Like that's when I took him seriously because I just couldn't take the design of the doll seriously. But with that burned face and the knife, I was like, oh hey, this is actually kind of badass.
Oh, it's that part actually that I felt relieved. I thought at least I couldn't see a face anymore. There's no Chucky face anymore, thank God.
But Iana, how old were you when you watched it? Because I can imagine that if you watch it as a child, it must be scary, especially hearing a doll, you know, say things to the mom like, you stupid bitch, and it's a doll. So how old were you?
I honestly can't remember how old I was. Basta, I was young and I was traumatized. But probably maybe 6, 7.
Yeah, so the same age as Andy.
Wow, that's really same age as Andy.
Yeah, right? So, parang wala na, dolls were ruined for me then. So
did you never have a doll after?
No, never had a doll that looked like a real person. Maybe just the little toys, like that spaghetti doll, but no baby doll for me.
You know what's cool? One of the things I read up on that was really, really cool, since you brought up your age and Aaron just said Andy's age. The original script, apparently, they made it really ambiguous. That maybe it could have been Andy.
Yeah. Oh. And I'm jumping in and I'm enthusiastic because while watching the movie, I was like thinking, it should have been so much cooler if they don't reveal agad who actually was the murderer. Like, if this was more ambiguous, if they had just been more subtle, it would have been great to figure out parang, oh my God, is the kid the murderer talaga?
Isn't that
And parang,
incredible? Wouldn't that be incredible? Like, oh, it's the fucking 6-year-old and he's
Because
blaming the doll. You know?
yeah. Because I was gonna say,
terrifying.
one of my favorite scenes is when the mom discovers when the batteries fall out and then she realizes that the doll has been talking without the
whole time.
batteries. And that's when she realized this doll is fucking possessed nga. Parang sana, if that was a reveal later on, parang, and yun yung nag-turn, oh my God, it's not the kid, it really is the doll. That would have been super good. I mean, obviously, the director has directed many movies and I'm just a watcher, but that would just be my comment.
Yeah. Well, apparently we know nothing because I mean it's launched a multi-million-dollar franchise with Chucky.
I know.
You know, so
But that would have been so interesting.
Whatever I directed just went straight to Vimeo. This guy made tons of movies.
I actually looked up the kid actor on Instagram,
kasi crush
Iana,
mo
and I actually sent it. No. Because I said he was so cute. I said, this kid is so cute. Hindi na pala.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I follow him on Instagram. I don't follow him. I saw him on Instagram. And he still has a big following. Like, there are culty people following this guy. And he's still like, I'm ready for a remake. My glory days pa rin siya as Andy. So,
I guess.
sana.
Horror fans are different. Like they are
Tell us, Chris.
obsessive. They are
Talagang cult
obsessive.
following.
Trust me.
I'm gonna insert some accuracy lang. You mentioned kasi diba there was Child's Play 1 and then you said Bride of Chucky, Or you
Is that not it? Sorry.
No, kasi there are let me count out. There's Child's Play 1, Child's Play 2, Child's Play 3, and then there's Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, and then Curse of Chucky, and then finally
Holy shit.
Cult of Chucky.
Damn.
So
Wow.
so the
And then the remake.
then the remake.
After Cult of Chucky.
So the evolution of the series is actually longer. So 1, 2, and 3 were kind of dark, and they actually inspired murders. Like Chucky 3 apparently inspired the James Bulger murder or something, because the killer
damn.
copied how Chucky killed the killers who were 10 years old at the time were said to have imitated a scene in which one of the Chucky victims is splashed with blue paint. So, and that's in the third movie. So I guess like there's a reason why it became less dark and more funny, like with Bride of Chucky.
Yeah.
Where they got what's her name? Jennifer. What's her name? Really funny actress.
Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's a reason why they changed Chucky into something
get it.
campier, because people died, guys. I have
This is
spoken.
real.
Bye.
Okay, someone mute God, please.
So, Iana, I'm starting to understand why you're a little traumatized, because now with this new information, the movie has suddenly taken something different. So, I get
Diba?
you.
So
I get
it's
you.
really dark pala.
It's really dark, and it was meant to be that way. But, you, for someone who is so traumatized by horror movies, you've worked on 4 separate ones. So, what is the difference between working on one and, watching one?
Well, the ones I worked on didn't have dolls in them. So
We all
That's
have
it.
our trigger points, Aaron.
But I don't know, being behind the camera makes it feel less scary because you know how it's actually being done. You're not in the dark, as opposed to being an audience. You're always in the dark. You don't know what's gonna appear somewhere. So, but thankfully, the ones I acted in, where you'd feel more in the dark, were bit roles lang naman. So it didn't require me to have to feel so scared about something, around me.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones I produced, Tia Madre was fun to do because it was more of a psychological horror. And it was involving a kid, actually. It involved also a young girl who was actually being, you don't know if she's the one who's causing you don't know if she's the one hurting the mother or it's something else, like a demon or something. So that's the interesting part about the horror films. Na it's really psychological. Actually, the more I made horror films, the more I understood even how the writers wrote it or the directors would handle it on set. And you'd notice it's really psychological. Well, at least the ones I've handled. It's a lot about your own fears or your own horrors. So now that I would watch films, I try to look at the character more than what's gonna appear. So that's an interesting takeaway from actually making horror films.
And now that you've been able to work on all these horror films and you know how things are done, do you think you would be able to work on a set where you have to, like a Chucky type set with a doll, a horror movie with a doll? Now that you know, I'm just curious because you're very traumatized by it, but you've worked on horror movies. Would you work on a set with a doll?
Well, I did Oda sa Wala. It's a film by Dwayne Baltazar. It's not really a horror film, but actually when we talk about it, when people ask, the director and I don't know what genre it is. But anyway, it's kind of a horror, but because we had a corpse, and it took me a while talaga to be able to look at the dummy corpse because it's still something that used to be alive and looks human. So it just reminds me of something like it reminds me of Chucky na as a dummy, can come to life at one point and kill you. As in, when I was young, feeling ko, kasi diba yung shots nga ni Chucky, puro POV, behind you, bigla ka nalang gugulatin. Yeah. So when I was young, we had a small house. Feeling ko sumusunod si Chucky sa likod ko, tapos sasaksakin niya ako or isa-strangle niya ako. Kasi I don't know what Chucky this is, but there's a Chucky na binalutan niya ng plastic yung driver. Tapos, basta sinasakal niya, tapos namatay ata yung driver. So when I learned how to drive, until doon, sabi ko, oh my God, baka yun, yung may nasa likod sa'yo, tapos babalutin ng plastic yung ulo mo. Hindi ko nga alam why I was still able to watch that film. Kasi when I watched
for someone who's traumatized by Chucky, you've actually seen quite a bit of Chucky. Because you're talking about Chucky movies that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, hindi ko yun maalis sa head ko, yung scene na yun. Maybe it was a clip and I saw someone was watching. I can't remember, but I can't forget na may ginanon si Chucky. So I go, oh my God. So tumitingin ako sa rear view mirror ko. Diba, isipin mo white lady yung nasa likod mo, nasa backseat. Ako si Chucky.
So you find Chucky scarier than Annabelle?
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
For some reason, kasi yun nga, that's why I chose Chucky also today. I wanted to face my fear kasi nababaduyan na ako sa sarili ko when I go through a toy store, tapos matatakot ako sa doll. Parang, sino pang matatakot sa doll? 27 years old ka na. Parang, face your fears, Yana.
Galing. Buti ka pa. So, but yeah,
I'm telling you guys, one day I'm going to force Miguel to watch to just finish The Conjuring. I'm going to make it my life mission.
I don't mind doing it
happen.
if we're all together watching it together. I don't mind, but I was
not
watching
with
it alone.
Miguel's lighting right now.
Yeah, I'm not. But now I live alone. There's a pandemic, but I don't need this in my life right now.
I really felt that, by the way, when you I think you literally said, I just don't need this stress in my life right now.
Yeah.
I really felt, because I was gonna be like, Miguel, just fucking watch it, please.
Yeah.
But then when I saw your message, I felt so bad for you. I was like, okay, just I get it. I totally get it.
I did not feel bad. No. No, it's your job. That's like the thing you have to do for this podcast. It's the thing.
I showed up for the recording, and then I threw in random info that I read off IMDb.
Did you really though? Did you really? Because I remember Maui, our producer, had to coach you.
I think Maui ended up reading the actual quote from IMDb, the voice of God again.
Would
But yeah.
I was gonna say, would God pop up from time to time?
yeah.
I did
Parang God
quite a
stepped in
lot. Quite a lot
Yeah,
during that episode.
Quite a lot. During that episode. Talaga, anyway, but parang it was so funny kasi I even tapped out at the bat. Like, it wasn't even a scary scene. Like, parang lumipat.
It was
I tapped
literally the
5
beginning.
minutes
Like,
in. Yeah.
just
I know, dude.
Annabelle.
Well,
Like,
to
we
be fair,
hadn't even gotten to the main story.
No. I
Like,
got
did you
past
even
Annabelle.
did you get to the title?
Yes, and then parang they were at that conference. They were speaking at the
Okay,
conference.
okay.
And you're introduced to Patrick Wilson and the woman, his wife.
Okay,
and
okay.
then they talk about how they're paranormal investigators. Cut to that shot of the window in the house. And the camera zooms out. I'm like, all right, I'm done. Like, if it's gonna be this kind of movie, I'm good. Like,
Well,
Anyway.
in a sense, I'm really glad that it happened because it's given us a lot of laughs afterwards. It's a nice conversation topic whenever we're talking to people.
Yeah. Parang,
Well,
and
what
I know we
helps
always
watching
say,
films like The Conjuring was you're familiar with those actors. So somehow it gets a little less scary. At least that's
I
how I tried
suppose.
watching it.
I suppose.
Try to remember
But-
her as a woman from Up in the Air.
What?
I suppose. Oh God, you cracked me up.
I know. Like, I know we introduced myself. I know we introduced me as the scaredy cat. Pero yun yung proof talaga eh. 5 minutes in, tanghaling sapat, like, okay na ako. I don't need to watch this movie.
You wouldn't even look at the trivia. You wouldn't even read it.
Ay, nako. It was
Ay, nako.
scary.
Oh, man.
Well, I'm
It's
reading
based on
trivia
the-
now of
Okay, go
Child's
for it.
Play.
Let's
Yes.
hear it.
And it's very interesting. So first,
Yeah.
this was something that I find like parang, yeah. Don Mancini was inspired by the Cabbage Patch Kids. So Iana, naabutan mo ba yun, the Cabbage Patch Kids?
No.
Oh no.
So they were dolls in the 80s. Pati ako hindi ko naabutan yan. I was a little young for that. But they were these dolls in the 80s that looked like Chucky. Big cheeks and
Yeah.
really cute clothes and stuff like that. So
Jumpers.
I was like, yeah, of course. It was inspired by the Cabbage Patch Kids. And he wanted to make a dark satire about how marketing affected children. So I guess it was
Galing.
really like for kids, if you think about
Yeah.
it.
This movie really
Ambition.
had a lot of ambition. Ambitions na,
Yeah.
na I'm sure in the process something came up and then they felt they had to do it. They'll go this way and this way. They made certain decisions. But I really like the premise of it. It's pretty cool.
Mhm. You want to hear a premise that it was supposed to be? So this is trivia fact number 2. The movie was first called Batteries Not Included and later changed to Blood Buddy. The first script had a plot line about dolls having realistic flesh that could rip and bleed like a human. And children would have to buy good guy bandages to fix their toy. He explained that the
Wow.
first idea was to have Andy accidentally cut his thumb, mixing his blood with Chucky. And that brought the doll to life. Parang I like that more.
Oh,
It's actually not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad.
that's a good concept. Yeah.
Diba?
Ang dami.
Interesting. I love it. And Don Mancini never liked the voodoo plotline. Thank you. I'm not a fan of the voodoo plotline.
Dude,
I was
the
surprised.
voodoo plotline is so fucking ridiculous. It's just so
Yeah.
They
ridiculous.
did it for the comic
Like when-
thing,
when-
no?
Yeah.
Like, start pa lang. That's why when it started, and then the serial killer started speaking in voodoo speak, and I was like, yeah, see, this is why I never wanted to get into it. This is just so fucking ridiculous. Like, I didn't even know that there was voodoo in the movie, and it just sounded so weird. But then later on, it really, the tone really changed. But yeah, that voodoo thing really seemed out of place. Even
Yeah.
like,
And then they visited in the course of the investigation, they visited the guy he learned it from. Like, who's
yeah,
this
exactly.
guy? Who's this guy? Galing din eh.
And he's
It's so
repentant
odd.
diba? Because like he taught the serial killer voodoo.
Yeah. The
And he
serial
was
killer.
killed with his own voodoo.
He was killed with his
And he was
own
killed
doll.
by his own
And
voodoo. Yeah,
a
yeah.
doll
Exactly.
killed him with a doll. A doll killing a doll. Like, it was just like, what's going on, guys?
So meta.
Very, very meta. So
Very
wait,
meta.
I'm correct in thinking that the actor who played the serial killer also voiced Chucky, diba?
No.
It's the same guy.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Brad
ba?
Dourif. Yes.
Who
Brad Dourif.
later
Yeah.
on, who I better know as
Grandma
Wormtongue.
Wormtongue
Wormtongue from
from The Lord of the
Rings.
Rings.
Yeah. galing,
Oh,
He's
Check
actually
it
very,
out.
very big. He's a big character actor, and he's in a lot of sci-fi movies. So when he came on screen, I was like, "Oh fuck, it's Wormtongue!" And then
And,
So,
and he's also
yeah, he's
Oscar
a great
nominated.
actor. He's a great actor. Yeah,
Parang
he's a
may
really,
Oscar
really good
nomination
actor.
siya for something else. Yeah.
kala ko for this. That
No,
would
no,
have
no,
been
no.
a trip.
for the few seconds he was on screen, and then as the voice of Chucky.
And as the voice.
Of Chucky pa, no? Can you imagine this movie getting any Oscar? Woo! Weird. Okay, another fun fact. Chucky was also played by Alex Vincent's sister. So Alex Vincent is Andy,
Yun.
the kid.
Yeah.
His sister
Oh,
played
wow.
Chucky. So
No
when the
shit.
killer doll is chasing Maggie down the hallway, the first woman who dies, it's
Yeah.
the sister.
Oh,
So
see,
that's what it's like.
so
yeah, it's a child.
The
That's
little
what it's a
child.
So
child.
it's
yeah.
a child.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's a mixing of animatronics, little people, meaning people of little stature, and
Yes.
children. So the child they were referring to was the sister. Wow, that's incredible.
Oh.
Galing, ah.
Super
If I
cool.
were a
really
kid,
love,
I would
I forgot
love-
to say pala. I forgot to say. You know, it's so funny to start where Chucky and Andy are both wearing the exact same thing. Like,
Yes.
it's just a coincidence, like just so you can see that there's a parallel between the two kids. I mean, between the kid and the doll. They're wearing
I
the
don't know,
exact
wow.
same thing.
When I was a kid and I liked things on TV, because you see him admiring the good guy show and everything, I'd wear.
That's
Didn't
true.
you
That's
wear your idol's
That's
clothes?
true.
Yeah, and I would.
That's true.
I
That's
would
true.
wear my Pink Ranger
Yeah.
shit.
You're absolutely correct. Yeah.
I was a fan of Ariel and Belle, so no, I didn't have a gown on in my cabinet.
Did you wear costumes like that of Belle and of Ariel as a kid?
There was once I wore Belle to a Halloween party.
Oh, great.
See, you can make your dreams come true.
And I was a really fat kid. So yung dugyot kids, I was at that stage. And they would tease me, sabi nila,
Dugyot.
mukha kang mais.
Mukhang
Porque
mais.
yellow, mais agad.
Bakit mais?
Kasi
Corn, like
yellow
yellow.
yung dress
Yeah.
ni Belle.
Oh.
I go, thanks for making me feel like a princess, huh?
Children are the worst. That's why they're in all horror movies. That's like the trope that children are in horror movies because they're actually really horrific.
Said the
That's
father.
true.
No,
I
my
do
son
think-
is a sweetheart.
I do think movies with kids are freakier than the regular horror films. Like kids add
Yeah.
an extra dynamic.
I totally 100% agree with you, but I think it can go either way. Like sometimes it's incredible, like Children of the Corn, Sixth Sense, and sometimes it's
Sixth
so
Sense.
bad, like when the child can't act, and then you're just
It's such a crapshoot talaga pag may child
Yeah.
actor, no? Yeah.
when it's great, it's incredible, but when it's
Like
not,
Haley
it's just
Joel.
like
Why? What
And
movies
you
have you
just
guys all
admire-
seen with bad acting by kids?
bad acting by kids. That's difficult. You put me on the spot, Aaron. Can you guys please keep talking? I'm gonna research right now.
Does it have to be
Well,
horror
The
or any
Orphan
movie?
was watchable.
The
I was-
Orphan.
Tried.
Oh my god, The Orphan's so good though. It's so
I have
good.
not seen it.
Is that a horror
Oh, you'll love
movie?
it. Aaron,
Okay.
no joke. You're gonna love The Orphan. It's great.
Tell me about it.
And my
no,
friend
no,
is
I
asking
really
me to
think you'll like
watch The Boy. And they said it was scary.
Which
yeah,
one?
The boy,
Sorry.
Yeah, The Boy is not bad.
It's called
It's another.
The Boy.
It's another movie about a doll. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, Iana. Let's do it.
No,
Watch
no.
party.
Watch party.
Watch party with the boy.
But when,
So even that
there
you
are
won't?
films, The Boy, probably not. The Orphan, they really had to force me to watch it. I know it's not a doll, but it still involved these crazy kids. Okay, yeah, I agree when you said like kids are scary. Because,
Yeah.
you don't expect them to do these bad stuff. And then when they do, it's just, wow, what? You'd
Yeah, I
expect a
agree.
murderer, but you're not a kid.
And even like kid ghosts. Diba sobrang nakakatakot yung mga batang multo. For some reason, they're just like, hey. And then,
The Grudge, I never saw The Grudge because I saw those
Oh.
those pictures of that scary kid. No, that I never watched that.
The Grudge is so freaky
true.
because if you want to hide under your blanket, you're not safe. Basically, that's what I learned from The Grudge. It's what I learned. Your blanket is not safe.
Your
shower
blanket's
is
supposed to
not
protect you.
safe. Diba?
Yeah,
Nope.
those are all the best tropes in horror films. Like when you have a sacred space and then that sacred space is invaded. That space where you think you're safe and then you're not pala. Those are the scariest things for me. Like a church when a fucking vampire throws up in the church and you're like, what the fuck? You just broke the rules. Like, no, you can't do that. Like, why? You know, or like underneath a bed and you're like, you know, in your blanket, you're like, no, you're not gonna get me. But then yes, The Grudge.
Oh, another
Buti na lang,
one
ano,
that
no?
was traumatic for me as I wasn't a kid na siguro then, but I was still a scaredy cat, was The Ring. So
Yeah, totally.
Which Ring? The Japanese version or the
I saw
American
the Japanese one first.
Yes, that's the best one. Yeah.
the Japanese one is freaking terrifying. Like it is
Yeah.
terrifying.
Ang
If we
tagal
have
ko
to, if we
bago
have to
ko...
makatulog. Yeah.
No, yung looking at screen, yung TV, pag walang nagpe-play, Diyos ko, takot na takot ako.
I'd wake up for a whole week or two. I'd wake up at around 2 a.m., 3 a.m. feeling na nandun si Sada ako sa kwarto ko. Kahit wala akong TV. Yeah.
It was the whole the visuals were just so
Yeah.
jarring. Like it's not
Even
like
the
outright
video,
like
yeah.
terrifying. It's just jarring. Like it takes you out of your experience. Like you've never seen an upside down eye on a face. You know, like it's just so
Yeah.
jarring. Like
Galing.
yeah, grabe. I really remember. It's formative din yan for me on The Ring. Very
Super.
formative.
It was
I'm just glad-
it was the first horror film I saw that was silent. Diba? Because
Oh,
all movies
and
have that.
scary. Yeah.
This was
Mhm.
quiet and it freaked
Yep.
me out so much.
I'm just so glad na nobody's asked us to watch a Asian horror film yet. None of our
I want.
none of our
The day
None
will
of our
come.
guests.
The day will come, and
I
if
know.
you tap out again, I mean,
okay
yeah,
lang.
go ahead. But-
On
but-
brand naman yun.
we'll laugh
brand
about
naman.
it. But yeah,
Yeah, we'll have
I'm so excited for you, Miguel. Asian horror is like the worst.
But I've seen a bunch naman. I've seen The Grudge. I've seen Ringu. What's the one that's
Then those are the scariest ones. Like,
yeah.
how
I've
can
seen
you-
Shutter?
the scariest. Shutter.
Shutter's pretty bad.
You're a
that's so-
photographer too.
I know. I've seen that. So I'm
And the
hopefully
guy's
those-
just complaining about his back pain the whole time, and then the
Yeah.
reveal.
I know. Hopefully, it's
Have you
those
seen
things
that,
I've seen
Iana?
them, and I don't
Yeah, I
have to rewatch
have.
it
I
anymore.
have.
Yeah, it's good. Ay nako, katakot.
I'm
Tubusan
not
na lang.
familiar with the second one Miguel said, Ringu.
Ringu's
The Ring.
Ringu's The Ring. The Japanese version is Ringu.
Okay.
He's
Okay,
being
yeah,
proper about it.
Yeah, he's being a
Arigato.
proper film student.
Right? Arigato gozaimasu, Miguel.
One time when Ringu came out, I was hanging out with friends, and then they were a couple and they got engaged. And then the guy goes, "You want to see The Ring?" And then automatically in my mind went, "Oh, I've seen it na eh. It's kind of scary. I like the Japanese
It's pretty
version."
terrifying.
I went on a whole parang film review about The Ring. Yung pala he meant, no dude, the engagement ring. Like, we got engaged. I was like, sorry.
Ah, dear God, so good.
I know.
That's so good. So Yana, what else does? I mean, like we've heard about how much Child's Play has traumatized you, but it's actually it seems like you've seen quite a bit of. You've seen a few horror movies. So what else? What else is scary for you? And then conversely, like what doesn't scare you in horror films?
What scares me probably would I don't know if you consider zombie films horror films, but that
Absolutely,
I really
yeah.
can't watch. I don't like the idea that he was once a human being and now he turns into a mindless, heartless monster. And how they look, how they move, that's just scary to me. You know, I've seen zombie films. In fairness, I was able to watch World War Z, Train to Busan,
Yeah.
but you know, it was just so difficult. World War Z, I remember I cried.
Oh.
It's just so scary for me. and the thought na the scene where they were climbing on top of each other just trying to break a wall. That was scary.
Mhm.
Baka yun lang, yung thought ng human nature na mawawalan ka ng all humanity mo, and you were once a mother, you were once so that's what's
my favorite parts in horror in zombie films are like, for me, like it's exactly that. It's not the chasing, the snarling, the blood, or the biting. It's the betrayal of like when they have like a really great character and that great like real person that they've really fully fleshed out, like even on The Walking Dead or whatever, and then that person suddenly becomes a zombie. It's this betrayal of like from someone so good or so real, and then suddenly it's like evil. Like for me, I feel betrayed. It's like more than like horrified. I'm just like, it's painful. Like it's that's why I feel like a lot of zombie films for me it's a mixture of not just horror, but like it's just they're sad. They're like
true.
I find them very sad. Yeah.
I've had conversations like with my fiance na parang, if you become a zombie, I don't know if I can kill you. And he's like, just do it. It's not me anymore. I'm like, I don't know if I could do it. Could you kill me? Yes. I'm like, bitch. No remorse.
Oh God.
Ako din when sabi nga, if a zombie apocalypse would happen, I would probably, this is wrong to say, but I'd probably just choose to die before I turn into a zombie. Parang,
I get it.
No, I can't. And
So
kill me na.
Yeah, and it's super touching in zombie movies when there's one person who sacrifice himself, and parang, because that person's willing to be dehumanized to save his people. That's pretty, I don't know why we got into zombie movies, but that's one of my favorite little zombie movie tropes, when somebody sacrifices themselves.
But I can't.
My favorite part of zombie films is like is just imagining the world and how I would succeed in that world. So if it's
so
like,
you would survive?
I would try.
Fight?
I would be like, I would scavenge. No, I wouldn't fight. I would scavenge. I think I'd be a very good scavenger. But that's what I do whenever I watch like the post-apocalyptic movies, like zombie films and stuff. I'm like, what would I hit first? Would I hit the convenience store, or would I hit the small mom and pop store and then stock up, run to the mountains?
That's what I was gonna say. The feeling
I would
of
just
the person
barricade
left
myself
behind.
inside an SNR and then just live there forever.
Diba, that loneliness of the person who's left behind, who's not a zombie, just watching everyone turn, or that's also a horrific part of of zombie films.
So again, how about stuff in horror films that doesn't scare you? I'm sure there's stuff that doesn't scare you. So how what do you think is campy, or does everything scare you?
Ang hirap. Can you guys, I'd say what you say. Can you guys talk first and I'll think about something?
Sure, no problem.
No problem.
Ako, basta pag nalumabas na yung monster, or if whatever that's scary comes out, that kind of lowers the scary and the intensity level for me. But I know what we're dealing with now.
So that's why you like Jaws. Jaws or stuff like that, where they tease a lot. Yeah,
they tease a lot, and then or as soon as you see that, like even in Cabin in the Woods, one of my favorite horror movies. Like later on, when it becomes a full-on monster thing, after the jump scares, or it becomes a full-on monster thing. But I'm kind of like, all right, cool. I can relax now and I can enjoy this movie because I know what we're dealing with. So it's those movies with a twist in the end that you don't see coming that are fucked up talaga. Like The Others was pretty cool.
I love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
you like
okay,
it?
wala akong maisip.
You like horror?
When you tag
you know what, Aaron? That's so funny, Aaron, because like we have done that so many times. Like we've had a bunch of guests who are like, no, I don't like the genre. I really don't like the genre. And then we talk to them like, dude, you have seen so many fucking horror movies. Like, how can you say that you don't like it? Like,
and Iana even said it in a way na, yeah. Oh,
yeah, she was excited. Yeah. I think we've just discovered that there are so many closet horror fans.
Yeah.
Like they just don't want to admit it. They don't want to admit it. But they exist and they're real.
No, because you have friends forcing you to watch these things, and you're the fine. They say it's good. Might as well. And then when you're already like when I was watching Child's Play kanina, or actually any horror film, I always have something covering myself between the TV. So kanina yung tumbler ko nakaganon. Tapos kaya kamay parang but you try to watch it.
Yeah.
There has to
It's
be a
very
barrier.
rewarding. It's very rewarding. I mean, I must admit that even good horror films or like any film can be very rewarding. Kasi natatawa.
Because you say that and then you don't
dilute
watch
it by
it.
saying, but also don't dilute it by saying all films. Just give in to it, Miguel. You started off by saying horror films are, So just finish it.
Rewarding. All right, sure.
Exactly.
Horror films
I'm
can
so
be
happy.
rewarding.
I'm so happy you said that.
I said it naman in the very beginning eh.
Ayan. So Yana, see, I have to listen to these two men bickering at each other all the time. So I'm so used to it.
It's true. It's
really like this.
It's true.
So tayo na lang.
Kasi
Tayo na mag-usap dito.
Oh, God. Sorry, guys. Didn't mean to hijack.
Bickerers.
Yeah.
The bickerers of life.
Okay, continuing
Right.
that train of thought. So for me, what scares me is like religious horror. That's what I can't take. What doesn't scare me is the second I see it's CGI and I can tell it's CGI, then I'm out. That's it. So that's my experience. How about you, Aaron? What scares you? What doesn't scare you?
Ghosts freak me out. The idea of ghosts, of unwelcome spirits in your house, that kind of freaks me out a lot. More than exorcisms, more than serial killers. I don't know. Maybe because I grew up and there were ghosts in my house. Yeah, I think that's it. So, what doesn't? Yeah.
Is
Yes,
it the same
Miguel.
house that you're in?
There were ghosts in my house. No, the house I grew up in.
Oh, okay. Different
Okay.
one. Okay.
What doesn't scare me is I get pissed when movies have those cheap jump scares where the music just goes dun, and then it's just the friend going like, "Hey, do you want breakfast?" Yeah, I hate that. I lose interest right away. I'm like, "Ay,
Hey, do you want breakfast?
maraming ganyan."
So someone like the music goes up and someone's holding a knife and she's like, "Do you want to carve the turkey?"
Yeah, it's annoying. How about you, Yana? Have you thought of what doesn't scare you and what scares you?
Well, I think I don't get to watch the bad horror films because people already tell me they're bad. So, yeah, but I agree with you. The campy baduy scares are parang, nyek, kala ko matatakot ako eh. Yung especially the comedy horror films, I'm not a fan of the more
really?
comedy horror. Yeah.
Oh, like Shaun of
But
the
what
Dead,
is your
maybe?
definition? Like what? What movie is a comedy horror you don't like?
Or maybe I just don't watch them.
Like scary movie, yung talagang
Yun, I
comedy.
didn't watch that.
Okay. I get it. It's like gags lang. And it's mga spoofs of other scary movies. Okay. I get.
But I
get it.
also don't like watching gory films. Like yung Saw, I never watched even one.
Oh, I get it.
Same.
Yeah.
I really like the first Saw, but I don't like anything after it. But yeah, I get that. Not a big fan of gore too. But you know, I think I can change your mind in comedy horror. There's a bunch of stuff that's really really good that I think you would like, or anyone would like actually. Have you seen Cabin in the Woods that Miguel mentioned earlier?
Cabin in the Woods.
It has Chris Hemsworth in it. Pogi. May
Worth
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, so
I saw that.
I mean, there are a bunch of films that toe the line, not like so like kenkoi horror, you know what I mean? But like are like a good mix naman. So yeah, it's a fine line.
A zombie film that I liked, which was I think comedy also, was Warm Bodies.
Oh yeah.
Warm Bodies.
Exactly. I enjoyed Warm Bodies a lot.
Yeah.
Same.
Or even
for
Zombieland,
ex-
maybe? I don't know.
Zombieland. I
Zombieland.
enjoyed Zombieland. Yeah. How about like a film like Happy Death Day? Like when I watch a trailer, I automatically say I wouldn't watch that kind of film. Was that a good
It's so
thing?
good.
Really?
It's so
I
good.
actually liked Happy Death Day. Yeah, I was expecting
good.
to hate it. I was expecting it to be crap.
Me too. Miguel, basically it's if
Groundhog
Groundhog Day was a horror film.
Oh my god. Is it
It's
slightly funny?
good.
It's funny. It's a
Okay,
horror comedy.
all right, I'll watch this. This sounds interesting.
It's very B movie, like B actors, C actors pa nga. Yung talagang, sino yan?
It's really funny. It's really funny.
All right, I'll watch it.
Sakit naman nung
you will
C
not be
movie.
scared.
I see acting.
C acting.
Actually, the sequel is not bad either.
Oh, may
Happy
sequel pa.
I think you
Day
should give it a chance.
to
Yana.
you.
Okay.
Okay,
It's pretty
okay.
funny. Pinilit.
Happy Death Day to you. All right. So how about going back to Chucky and Child's Play? So is this something? How about you guys? Like for me, I mean, like I haven't, like I said, like this is the first time I've seen it. I'm actually interested in watching the rest of the franchise.
Yeah, I know.
How about you guys? Like how do you take in the whole film? So my thing is I came into it and I did not ever want to watch it growing up because I thought it was gonna be so corny. And then like looking at the clips, like and I was like, it's a comedy, it's a ridiculous thing. But so watching it today, yesterday, it changed my opinion and I really enjoyed it. I must say, and I think I will check out a few of the sequels. I'm gonna Google the sequels that are worth watching, and then I'll check it out. I'm kind of ashamed to say that I've never seen it. How about you guys?
Well, I've
What's
seen
your take
Bride
on
of
it?
Chucky.
I've seen
Sorry,
Seed
go
of
ahead.
Chucky, and because of what Maui said, what God said a while ago, I probably want to watch Child's Play 2 and 3.
Okay.
But 2 and 3 are still dark. Like I think they have the same tone as the first one.
God?
Yes.
Is that you?
Yes, it is. Anak. So,
Go on.
no, it's that same. Like you want to see the dark ones as opposed to the campier ones from later on in the series. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Ah, interesting.
So
She's basing this off the fact that you said 10-year-olds copied the way Chucky murdered people.
murdered people. Yeah.
But children will copy the worst stuff, guys. You know, doesn't necessarily reflect on the quality of the films. I'm just saying, you know, that real life affected the franchise a certain way. Diba?
Interesting. I'll read up on this. For me naman, what do I feel about Chucky? I think I have notes for the director.
Lol.
Let's hear him. I want to hear him.
Sabi ko sa'yo, Yana. I told you. Did you hear what I said earlier? These film dudes.
I
Oh, what are your
know.
notes? Pakisulat.
I'm just saying that I wish they had doubled down on making it ambiguous and making the climax us figuring, like, showing that it was actually the doll pala, the possessed doll over the kid. Like, sana hanggang matagal na, is it the kid or is it the doll? And then when the mom discovers the batteries, holy shit, it's the doll. Parang ganyan. Yun lang naman notes ko sa direct. Direct, yun lang.
I agree.
It could have been a psychological thing now, and like, anyway.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Before we move on to that, one of the things I read up earlier on it was they did a test screening, and apparently a lot of the film was cut out because people it didn't play well for the test crowd. And what they did was the director was like, "See, I told you we don't have to show Chucky so much," because he wanted to pattern it after Spielberg in Jaws. So they cut out a lot of the scenes where Chucky is actually on screen. And they did they kept a lot of the, just running across the screen or like just the hands or just the knife and stuff like that. Because that was all deliberately patterned after Jaws. So that's pretty, that's pretty cool.
And then imagine if we weren't even sure if it was the kid or the doll, because it was just like things moving in the background, like parts of a body, and they're dressed the same anyway. So imagine that. If we had direct, sanay na lang.
I agree. Actually, when Miguel, you brought that up, parang maybe that's why. Because they used a lot of the same treatment na he just passed through and then, diba? They probably
blur.
shot that while filming, so to supposedly maybe with the intention to confuse the audience first.
Yeah, agree.
And then they decided
I
in
mean,
the editor na okay, let's just reveal na it's really Chucky. So parang, sayang.
buti naman may coverage sila, but it could have taken a different tone altogether if they had gone Jaws on it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
So
look at us.
from one film nerd to a fan, Aaron, what did you think?
What did I think? I thought it was so silly. But again, I'm taking into account that I'm seeing it at 34 years old. You know what I mean? If I saw it as a kid, just like when we were talking about before this movie called It. It was a TV movie, and the people that I talked to that were older said it's not scary. But as a kid watching it, it was scary for me. So I understand where you're coming from, that you saw Chucky at 6 years old. But watching it as a 34-year-old and hearing this doll say, "You stupid bitch, you try to fuck with me." And I'm like, oh God, this is so weird. It's just, parang...
That was such a good impression, guys. It was so good.
Yeah, that's the one that made me laugh out loud. That scene, when I was watching it earlier, I was just like, oh my God, this is so ridiculous. So I just realized I have seen Bride of Chucky, the one with Jennifer Tilly. And it was hilarious. So I was kind of expecting something like that now with this one, because I haven't seen it in a
Yeah,
really
funnier
long
one,
time.
right? Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Well,
it
apparently
did make me
they
laugh
only changed
eventually.
tones later on. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
what God
my
told
thought.
us.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so I think that's a good way to kind of wrap up this whole conversation. Iana, thank you so much for coming over and joining us. It was super, super duper fun. Such an honor to have you on. Is there anything you would like to plug? Anything that's happening for you in the near future that you'd like to talk about?
Well, I want to say thank you for having me. I didn't realize I have seen a number of horror films until we talked about it. So that's nice to know about myself. And well, what's coming up for me? I'm acting in a YouTube series called Pearl Next Door. It's coming out in September. So it's
interesting.
I think it's the first. I think they call it Women Who Love Women, the genre. So we're gonna learn about that. It's like a BL but girl version, so GL.
Oh, okay. These boys don't know BL.
nice.
I'm telling
Interesting.
you.
Huh?
Okay.
I
You
am
know
pretending
BL?
I know it. I'm
Oh.
They
pretending I
don't know
know
BL.
it, Aaron.
They don't know BL. I know BL.
What is-
I know BL.
What is
Good
BL?
for
The
you.
film nerds don't know it.
Wala,
Kakainis.
wala pala. Stick to your horror.
Can you not expose us
Oh,
for the
BL is
frauds
like
that we are?
Yeah.
a lot of BL series coming out now. So thank God that
I love Game Boys.
Yay!
So good.
I love Game Boys too.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
it's a fantastic console. I was such a fan growing up. Yes.
LOL.
Okay.
Do not, Chris. Do
Let's
not.
pretend
No,
you're
no,
in.
don't go there.
I'm gonna Google everything that you guys mentioned when we're off the air. So I'm just gonna cool.
But anyway-
Anyway.
So that's coming up this September. So that's going to be keeping me busy soon. But aside from that, I'm so happy that there are small productions that are still ongoing. So I'll be producing a film and 2 episodes of an anthology soon. So I hope people still watch. Well, people still watch naman, buti na lang. But, people are shooting now. And, everyone just has to be safe, even with the little money that we all have now.
Yeah, for real.
Yes, absolutely. Thank
So
you.
once again, thank you so much, Yana. We were so
Thank
happy
you.
to have you here. We were enlightened
I
by
had fun.
Yeah.
what you had to say. Yes.
But-
So
but-
thank you.
more importantly, I hope we convinced you to watch more horror films.
Yes. Imagine I'm
Wag ka
gonna watch
ma-pressure.
Child's Play 2 and 3. I'm
Okay,
gonna try Happy
yeah.
Death Day.
I will.
Yes.
try.
Beautiful.
Me
You're gonna love
also. I want to watch that also. Okay.
You're
So
gonna love it.
good.
Thanks,
Great.
guys. Take
Awesome.
care.
All right.
So nice to see everyone. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to
Take care.
everyone listening. Thank you so much.
Thank
See
you,
you
God,
guys.
for
Bye-bye.
inviting me.
You are welcome, anak.
Wow.
Sardo Rojo.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Big Baby Studios.